All right, guys, this is over in Commerce City, Colorado. Do a little time lapse here. Um, I was in a hurry and I needed to get it untarped in a hurry. And anytime you want to get stuff done in a hurry, just push the time lapse button. It goes much quicker. So this went pretty well, guys. I just pulled in here. There was a big nice lot. Um, Worked out really well. And then as you see, forklift just came in, take one, just same way they put them on, guys. Um, this was a pretty good one. I remember that I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I actually got a load booked, a load of bricks going to Wyoming booked on Friday when I loaded this one. Right after loading these transformers, I was able to get some bricks loaded out of Fort Lupton, Colorado, going up to Pinedale, Wyoming, and I live pretty close to Pinedale, Wyoming, so that'll get me home. And so that'll be the next one we see is the bricks going to Pinedale.
All right, there, I'm all wrapped up. Transformers delivered. Got to go about 19 miles to go pick up some bricks. Goes up to Pinedale, Wyoming. That one pays $11.50. Deliver that tomorrow and then go home for a day or two, maybe 3, maybe 5. We'll see.
All right, guys, here is some bricks going on. This was going up to Pinedale, Wyoming. They've got a new construction project they're building up there. I don't remember what it was. It was some building, and this is just the bricks for the side. If you notice when I'm strapping this, there's little cutouts of it, and I guess that's for the rebar to go through. I learned later. It was kind of interesting. But anyway, yeah, this is just bricks for a building project up in Pinedale. And that's all this is. Pretty straightforward load, no tarp, easy peasy.
All right, got some bricks here. Gonna secure this down and boogie over to Wyoming. Totally know if I like the way they put that one on the back, but is what it is.
So you are gonna want 2 copies, correct?
Yeah. Okay. I better do 2 on. There's 2 backs technically. Because of the way they. Oh crap! I got a light in the way. Damn. Well, it's only going to get 1 back here. Oh! Twist. Twist, goal, twist. Okay, I only have 13 winches on that side. 2, 4, 6, 8. 10. Interesting. I'll need 2 there, so wait for that guy to go by before I throw. That's sheetrock. Bunch of people going by. This is where it would be handy to have a few more edge protectors. On my other trailer, I carry 24-inch and 36-inch. This trailer only carries 24s, and I guess 12-inch. But 36 kind of come in handy. For bricks. I guess I can throw those now. This kind of sucks. They're kind of right in the middle. Right on that frickin'. You know, I might do a couple of 12s on that front. You got a spare strap around here. Got too many. Oh, shit. Now this works out good because that covers this block here from sliding out. I guess in this case, the 36s wouldn't have helped any. because the 24 is covered fine. Everything's locked in. That one's a little tight. So this load goes up to Pinedale, Wyoming, and that's, I just put it in the GPS, 422 miles, and this load pays $11.50. I think that's $2.72 a mile. So I did pretty good by coming out of Denver, except for I went to a worse market still. If you guys saw one of my other videos, I was saying that sometimes you can do pretty well coming out of bad markets so long as you continually go to a worse market. But that worst market is home to me, so saw that load pop up. I thought, hell yeah, I can use some home time and get paid to go there. I normally have to deadhead it. So it'll be nice to get, it's only, I think it's only from Pinedale, it's only like 100 miles home, which I normally have to deadhead home from Salt Lake, which is 180 miles. Sometimes I deadhead home from here, from Colorado. It's like 350 mile deadhead home if I do that from Denver. So This hitch is probably going to look good. I'm excited to have some days off and do my hitch numbers and see where this hitch came in. It's probably going to be upwards of 220 a mile. I haven't ran the numbers, but I was at 217 when I finished my North California run. Then I deadheaded up to Oregon and then went to Southern Cal. That may not have changed much, but then I got a load from Southern Cal over to Denver, those transformers, and that paid $290, so that'll bump up the number a little. And this load pays, when I get done with all my deadhead back home, it's only going to be like $215. But the fact that I got paid to go pretty close to home instead of deadheading it all, I won't take a huge hit by going home. So I will probably be right around the 220, maybe 225, which is better hitch than I've had in a long time. But that is mostly because this hitch was long. This hitch is going up on shoot, it's going to be right around 40 days long. And so the longer hitches I do, the better they come out, because I live in such a bad market. So if I take one bad market load coming out of the house for a 40-day stretch, you see what I mean? It doesn't make as big of an effect. But if I go home every couple of weeks, that horrible load that I leave the house with and the deadhead back home will all start to lower that number to the point where it starts to look pretty bad. So I've discovered the longer hitches I do, the better it is for the rate per mile anyway, because I take such a hit when I leave the house, and then it's a decent distance typically to deadhead back. Even this one is 100 miles, which I call that short, but if someone lived in Tennessee or Alabama somewhere, you could get a load, 50 miles or 30 miles back to the house, so you could do pretty well. So that's another thing that I think that you need to keep in mind if you're looking at my numbers. My numbers are unique to me because of where I live. So if you lived in Alabama or Georgia or somewhere down there, you could do much better than I could. You would be able to, if you go back on some of my videos, I had a week where I ran in the South on this hitch. I ran in the South one whole week on this hitch. It was $61.50 for revenue and $2.79 for RPM. And you might not be able to do that every single week if you lived in the South and get yourself home. But if you didn't care to go home and just kind of ran the market, went home every couple weeks maybe, or what have you, you could probably do somewhere around there, 250 or north of 250 a mile. And you could probably hit north of 5,500 per week, you could probably start to come close to averaging 6,000 a week on revenue. You don't want to get these too tight because you can break bricks. You can shatter those bricks. Okay. What's going on here, guys? Huh. Hello, this is Cole.
Hi, this is Gracie, Thompson River Lumber.
Hi.
How's it going today?
Good, how can I help you?
I didn't know if you had any transport kind of being near Montana, Thompson Falls.
No, I don't. We've got a truck up there in Spokane, but we've already filled him up.
Okay, well, that works. I just thought I'd give you a call and stuff and see if you had anything.
Yeah, no worries. I appreciate you calling.
You're welcome. You have a
All
great
right.
rest of your day.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
So Thompson Lumber pretty sure they are pretty sure they're a direct shipper out of Thompson Falls, Montana. Come here. Okay, guys, that's it. We're done. I got my tire gal looking for tires for me. I need to replace that one. Both front axles, I guess. Or wait a minute. No, it's the rear axle. Yeah, this one. And we've got to get Jeff's truck outfitted with some snow tires. So anyway, this load's ready to go. I gotta go with some paperwork and then get the heck out of here. Well, good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday morning. I'm in Wyoming, getting ready to do my delivery of these bricks. And on Friday, which was Halloween, that's when I picked up in Los Angeles, heading for Colorado. On that day after I got picked up, after I tarped that those transformers, I was waiting for paperwork and I was making breakfast, and I jumped on the load board and I was able to get the load I'm hauling now booked. So, you know, I pre-booked that one on Friday for Monday pickup. I also pre-booked Jeff. I don't think I talked about that, but I've also pre-booked Jeff on Friday for a Tuesday morning pickup, because remember, he had to be off for Monday. So he was home Friday, Saturday, or he's home Friday night. He was off Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and then he wanted to start again Tuesday. So I pre-booked him on Friday for Tuesday, and he's heading over right now to go pick up that lumber load. That lumber load is Idaho to Illinois for $33.50. So I think it's about $1.80, $1.85 a mile. I'm sure I'll report on that later, but that lane's always pretty bad. It's a little better than it has been. Normally that lane's like $1.70 really. So, but anyway, that's what's going on. I was able to get those pre-booked, which I was pretty happy about, because then I didn't have to do it on Monday when I also was having to deliver and everything. So that saved me some time. And so I'm going to deliver these bricks, then I'm going to get home. We've got some maintenance to do. We've got to do an oil change in my main engine, an oil change in the APU engine. I've got to fix some stuff. I have a license plate holder that's coming off on the back. It's all busted up. Got to fix that. What else was there? There was a couple other things on the list. Oh, we want to change out the air dryer cartridge and the air dryer itself, because we're going into winter. That's something that we want to do on all of our trucks every winter, so we don't run into any airline freeze-up problems. And I'm thinking about possibly doing front brakes, drums, and shoes, because I'm getting kind of a weird noise in the front end. And so we're going to look at that. We may not change them, but I might just go ahead and just do a full, front axle brakes while it's in the shop. I don't know. We'll see. And that's what I got going on. So, so stay tuned, guys, because when I'm home, I'm going to be doing, I don't know what day it'll be, but I'm going to be doing a numbers sheet. I'll be going over my hitch and kind of reporting what I was able to do for this hitch. I did a little bit yesterday, and it was like 41 or 42 days long hitch, so it's a pretty long hitch. So I always like to track everything and go over it. So I'll try to break it down for you guys so you can see the actual money that's coming in. Those sheets are not real good about me doing the actual costs of the trucking company. The reason why is because we have multiple trucks, we've got multiple insurance bills, I've got office staff, I've got driver salaries, so that will kind of confuse the math. I'll try to remember to put together like a October, since we have the whole month, like an October profit and loss report, so you can see what the total company brought in versus what the total company paid out. Not that my numbers are gonna mean anything to you guys, other than, you'll get some true numbers from someone who is doing it. And are we able to make profit? Are we losing money? Are we making money? That could be interesting to you guys. So stay tuned for that. I'll try to put together a good spreadsheet video with all the numbers I can think of, and that's always fun for me to do. It's always encouraging to look at the numbers after coming home and knowing what we did. And most of this entire hitch, almost every single load from this hitch, was filmed. Some of the loads I wasn't able to film, but I at least talked about them in the video. So if you go back over last month and a half's worth of videos, you'll be able to see this entire hitch as it unfolded. So stay tuned for that. It ought to be interesting, guys. All right, guys, I'm here at my delivery in Pinedale, Wyoming. So that's the new building. Looks like we're just gonna pull up over there, and they're gonna pull off the bricks right from the road like that forklift's doing. Probably can't tell from here, but So I'm probably going to be okay to go ahead and pull my straps off right here. I'm going to go up and talk to them real quick, but there's no big bumps on the way up there. It's all paved, so should be able to pull the straps off and everything should stay secure while I pull up there. All right, guys, I am unstrapped. Just pulling up here in line. Got this guy of looks like bagged dry concrete. Got to get unloaded, and then I'm next. That's it, guys. That was a successful completion to a hitch. Stick around for some numbers.
All right, guys. As promised, I'm going to go over my hitch numbers here. And this is for my entire hitch, 41-day hitch. I'm pretty sure I did that right. I filled this in a couple of days ago, and I don't remember if I went right to the 4th, but it was September 23rd to November 4th while I was on the road. I think I was home for 234 resets with freight on board during that time, so about 41 days. I took the 2 days out, so I guess that'd be 43 days total, but I took those 2 days out because anytime I'm home on a reset day, I take that day out as day not worked. If I do a reset day on the road, that's included because it's away from home, so this is 41 days away from home. So over here, got fuel cost, $7,500 on fuel, 2,263 gallons of fuel, $428 on DEF, 96 gallons of DEF, averaging 184 miles to the gallon on DEF. That is low. My other truck does over 200. This new truck, there's some stuff going on with the admission system that's not real perfect, and I haven't quite discovered what it is. So this should be about 220 to 240, but we're using more DEF than we should be. It has to do with the doser. I think the doser might be a little plugged up. It's functioning, everything's working properly, it's getting through its regens fine. It's not doing forced regens all the time, but I think it's just not atomizing the fluid real well, so it's using a little bit more. We're running some stuff through there to try to help that. So 17,793 miles total. A total top line invoice revenue of $39,110. And this is the most important number you guys are probably going to be interested in. Total all-in hitch number is $2.20 per mile. We had a fuel mileage of 8.15 miles to the gallon. That put us at 42 cents per mile. We had a lot of Western running. We're in the expensive states, Idaho, Washington, California even. I think I had several fill ups in California. So that really bumps that number up here. Normally we can stay in the 320, 330 range, but when you go out west, you're going to pay more for fuel. So you can see it over here. Let's see. I just did we'll leave this stuff alone because I'll come back and pause the video. I have this number, but I haven't put it in yet. So we'll continue on here. So total deadhead miles was 1,380. So if we go through the hitch numbers, let's go through every place I went. I was home, then I went and picked up in Salt Lake City, then delivered in basically Portland, Oregon, then picked up very, very near there, and then delivered over in Spokane, then picked up in Spokane, went down to South Carolina, then picked up in South Carolina, then went to North Carolina with it, picked up in North Carolina, went down to Jacksonville, Florida with it, picked up across the border into Georgia, went to Alabama with it, and then picked up in Alabama and went to Ohio, picked up in Ohio, delivered in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, then did some maintenance right here. Then I went and picked up in Pennsylvania, went back down to Alabama, then went across the border into Mississippi, picked up, this was steel that we moved from Mississippi to Oregon. And most all of these were documented, were filmed. So if you go back through all my videos, you'll see pretty much all of these runs, the loading and the tarping and all that. So anyway, we went out to Oregon with this one, dropped in Oregon, went across the river, picked up some lumber, went down to Arkansas, picked up sheetrock in Nashville, Arkansas, delivered out in Kent, Washington, then picked up in Burlington, Washington, went down to Red Bluff, California, then yeah, and then we deadheaded back across the border into southern Oregon, picked up in Oregon, went down to, this is basically LA, went down to Southern California, then picked up in Southern California, delivered to, this was the, not compressors, transformers that I tarped. Went over to Commerce City, Colorado, then I picked up in Fort Lupton, delivered to Pinedale. This was the bricks, blocks, I guess, and then deadheaded home. I just realized I forgot to fill in this stuff, so I'm gonna need to pause the video and put that stuff in as well, guys. This won't matter for the loaded miles, so well, let me go ahead and pause the video here and restart it, and I'll fill in this stuff and the other stuff up here that I forgot to. I guess I wasn't quite ready, guys. Okay, guys, I'm back at it here. We've got the hours filled in, and let's just finish up where we were here. So this was the final mileage odometer reading for Pinedale and back to home, Rock Springs. So that's where the hitch took us. Those were all the loads. Let's go over the rate per mile, the loaded rate per mile for each load. $1.99, $3.66, $1.90, $4.23, $2.56, $3.47, $3.42, $5.53, $1.89, $2.40 or 24, $1.85, $2.27, $3.35, $3.34, and $2.79, $2.92, $2.58, and those are all the loads, the loaded miles per load. Now, if we just highlight all of these, and it'll give us an average. So this is an average of $1 or $2.92 per mile. So each load, if we just average out the rate per mile, this would be what we would say average posted rate, right? When the load board posts average posted rate, they're taking all of the loads, getting the rate per mile of each one, and averaging those rate per miles together. That's what we're doing here. So that is 292 per mile. But it's not 292 per mile, right? Because what are we leaving out? We're leaving out deadhead, and we're leaving out the difference of, for example, this load for 366 only went 382 miles, whereas this load that paid $1.90 went 2650. So we always take a hit in rate per mile when we go short. So in other words, the shorter we go, the higher the rate per mile is, and the less effect it has on our overall. So here's an interesting number over here. This is the hitch, the progression of the hitch. So after the first load was delivered, we were at $1.64. Then we were at, by the second load delivered, we were at $2.21. Then by the time we got done with this one, it brought us down to $1.99. Then we were at $2.14, then $2.16, then $2.16, $2.22, $2.28. This was right after we did that big week, the short haul week, where we averaged $2.79, I think, for the week. So that brought us up to the highest point of $2.28. Then we took a hit when we went out west. Oh no, that was the one that we took out of Pennsylvania going down to Alabama. We took a little bit of a hit, dropped us down to $2.19, dropped us down to $2.17, dropped us down to $2.11. Then we raised up a little bit to $2.12, then $2.16, then $2.16, then $2.21. This was the California to Colorado, $2.21. And then we came out of Colorado okay because we went to Wyoming. this is what I've said before. If you go from one worse market to a worser market, you do pretty well. So this was 258 a mile all in or loaded, so it didn't bring us down any. So we ended in Pinedale at 221. By the time we deadheaded home, we were up here again at 220. So that's how that all works out. Let's go over the top line per day was pretty good. I like to see this 950. So that was every day that I was away from home, including reset days, divided by the total number of money. Bottom line, that is after everything this sheet takes out, which is basically just factoring in fuel and DEF. So there's a lot of money coming out of here that isn't included in this sheet. Average miles per day, 433. That is, again, that's including all my reset days, right? That, because that's the 41 days divided by total miles. Salary, that's just a random number in there. If we pay the driver 73 cents. This was my log hours. Dollars per log hour after factoring. So this is how much we brought in. $108 per hour. Driving hours was a little less than on duty hours, obviously, at 329. My average speed was 54 miles per hour. That's with stops and everything included, so it doesn't mean I was setting the cruise at 54 miles per hour. Fuel cost per hour was $21.48 per log hour. So for every log hour that I spent on duty, I spent about $21.48 for fuel. Profit per hour gone. This is an interesting number. This is the profit for every hour that I was spent away from home. So this is 41 days times 24 divided by the dollar, or by the profit number, which is over here. Simple profit, 30,000. So basically $30.82 per hour profit, simple profit per hour gone. Now that doesn't include stuff like truck payment and insurance, all that stuff. Simple profit per hour gone, per log hour, sorry. So this is with fuel taken out, fuel factoring and DEF taken out. We would still make $85 an hour per log hour, right? Not per hour gone. This $30 is per hour gone. So that's even when I'm sleeping. Driver wage, that's not really all that important because it's, I don't know what I put in there for dividing it by, but the average on-duty hours per day was 8.6 hours. That's because, of the reset days, of course, they bring that down. So that was the average hours worked per day, put it that way. Fuel percentage of revenue. So I spent 19.4% of my revenue went to fuel. Deadhead percentage, 8.33% of my miles were spent empty, and a total of 1483 total empty miles. Now, is that right? Yeah. So when we, if we want to see what our loaded miles were, we just subtract out the 1483. And that gives us, for every mile that the truck spent loaded, we billed out $2.40 per mile. So that's pretty good. I think that holds up with some averages. So what else can we talk about here, guys? We spent 286 hours of APU hours. So those are hours that did not get put on my engine, right? If you didn't have an APU, you would have spent 286 hours idling the truck for AC or heat or whatever we used it for. So that's a significant number. In 41 days, we almost put 300 hours on the APU. That burnt 81 gallons of fuel. Now it would have burnt 3 times that if you would have idled the truck, right? So that's a big number. Now, just so you guys are aware, I am subtracting this out of the fuel cost. The reason why I do that is so that we have the fuel mileage correct. And the reason I like to do that is because I don't, if there's a hitch or a week or whatever where we have a lot of idle time on the APU because it's a 34 reset, it will throw off our fuel mileage, and then we might think something's wrong with the truck, right? Oh, why we dropped down to 7 miles to the gallon? Oh, it's because we're not accounting for APU. So I account for APU over here. I normally put it in APU fuel over here. I forgot to do that. So we could subtract the 283. I guess it'd be a positive number. It's a 283. So that's our APU fuel. So that would subtract from our profit. 40, like I said, 42 cents per mile for fuel cost. It was pretty high because we had lots of high expensive fuel. I can't think of anything else that we need to mention on this sheet, guys. That's what I was able to do. I did have this broke up over here, so I'll mention it real quick. This was that high RPM week where I spent in the South. And we ended up, this was odometer to odometer, came out to 2,193 miles. We billed out $6,150 at 280 per mile for that week. That's including all the deadhead for that week. And so probably everyone's like, well, wait a minute, why don't you just stay down south? Because 280 is much better than 220, right? Because that's what I was able to do running all over the country. And we will do that. Come winter, we normally do stay down south more frequently and have those higher weeks. The problem is I don't live down south, so I have to come home eventually, right? So we have to be able to move in and out of home. And also sometimes it's better. Now this was a pretty high revenue week, so this wasn't bad, but it was busy too. It was tarp, retarp, and untarp every day, right? And it was a pretty busy week. I was able to do this because Jeff was on vacation and I was just worried about me. But a lot of times we go for longer loads because it's much easier in the office. We don't have to worry about paperwork. We don't have to worry about booking the next load every single day. And also, there is something to be said for longer miles. Just getting that higher revenue. The next week, here's the next week broke down. We had 3,515 miles at 7,100 at 202. So sometimes it's better to make the $1,000 of difference in revenue. I haven't broken up how much the fuel cost difference. We definitely make a lot of profit over here at the 280, but there is sometimes a balance between high RPM rate per mile and high revenue, and sometimes I like to go for the revenue better. So anyway, that's the Hitch numbers, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys are able to, see similar numbers out there in the spot market, and let me know what you guys think. Thanks. Okay, guys, here we're going to go over profit and loss report. I told you guys I try to do this, so here it is. So the total company income is 53,760. Pay the quick pay is the factoring bill for $650. So our total sales went down to 53,111. So you can see here, I'm not going to read all the lines, but the big ones would be we had some maintenance on 21, which is the truck I drive. And that was pretty substantial this month because we did the overhead adjustment and the DPF cleaning. And then fuel bill, this is both trucks combined. That's going to be about standard, except for both Jeff and I ran pretty hard during October. That's why we see a pretty large sales, or total income was pretty big. 53,000. We both did over 25. I think I did 28 and he did 26 something. Does that make sense? Or maybe he did 24. I don't remember. But so that's pretty normal. Insurance bill 23,000 or 2,300 and $45. So that's 3 tractors and 2 flatbeds. That also includes the company pickup. But that's like $48 for the company pickup. Is pretty much nothing. That's a separate policy. not the same policy, but it all gets lumped into insurance as far as the category goes. So we pay about a little over $2,200 per month for the 3 tractors and the 2 trailers. One tractor is spare rated, so they give us a discount, even though they're fully insured. All 3 are fully insured. They give us a discount because we only have 3 drivers on staff, or sorry, 2 drivers on staff, and they understand we can't drive 3 of them. Only 2 can be operating at any one time. So, and then the other thing that might be big, let's see, what is this? So payroll, total payroll expense was $15,940. My salary was $5,000. Let's see. That's about it, guys. You could look through here. Oh, legal and professional services, that was pretty high this month because we did we filed a tax extension. We do that every year, and the way, so for our tax bill, for our tax preparation from the CPA, that bill would have come out in October. I think they filed it in September. I don't remember, but we got hit with the bill for it. So that was all of our CPA bill was $1,385, and then parking fee. Oh, that was legal and professional services. Sorry, legal and professional services was the CPA fee for $1,385, and then this is office supplies and software. This would be all of our subscriptions, load board subscriptions, all the stuff that would get lumped into office and software. And then parking fee was $268. We paid a decent amount for parking this month. Yeah, so our total expenses came to $35,956, leaving us with a company profit of $17,154. This month was better than most, guys, so don't think that this is what we're able to put down every month. We a couple of months back, we lost about 14,000. We had a 14,000 loss on our month. So, it's this is quite good. We had a good month. Both Jeff and I ran pretty hard. We had high revenue, so that we're looking at the best case scenario here, guys, and we're not doing 17,000 of profit every month. I can guarantee you that. So, anyway, that's the end of it, guys. Let me know what you think, and if you like this type of stuff, like the video.